With so much software available in the short-term rental industry these days, it's increasingly difficult to keep up to date with what's on the market and to determine whether it's a maybe or a must-have for you and your business. So meet one provider each week in a short interview, learning what they do and what they offer. So if you have around 15 minutes to spare, it could prove to be a very good investment to stick around. So let's see who and what is out there, one by one, with me, Deborah Larby, also known as the Guest Inspector. Hello everyone, and welcome to a special Techsplained with the Guest Inspector. A number of years ago, I considered proposing a renovation of a ground floor bathroom to have a walk-in shower and installing ramps at the property to be able to market the property as disabled friendly. I wanted to appeal to a bigger audience, including that niche market. Due to costs and a lack of knowledge, it never happened. Last year, while investigating speakers for the Book Direct show, I wanted to explore this topic again, and so put out a post on a disability Facebook group and got swamped with replies. One of the things I took away from the responses was that bath in that ground floor bathroom might have suited some people with certain disabilities, and that there are numerous aspects and even simple things you can do to make your property more disabled friendly. It may already suit some disabilities. It's not just about walk-in showers, rails, and ramps. Disabled doesn't only mean wheelchairs. This is a niche, but it's a large one. And today I'm chatting with Lorraine, who will explain what she's doing to help you learn and prepare for these guests. Hello, Lorraine. How are you?
I'm awesome.
That's great. Thank you very much for joining me today and sharing all this great information I know you're going to share with us. So to start off with, straight into it, can you please explain to us what becoming rentable does in one sentence or two?
Becoming Rentable are the experts in accessible rentals. We aim to change the way the short-term rental industry looks and defines what an accessible short-term rental is.
Great. Okay. So as a property manager, I'm going to jump onto your website and what can I glean from your website? What can I learn, or what can I do with you, or what can you do for me?
Well, one of the first things we can do is educate you about what does it mean to have an accessible property. We believe at Becoming Rentable that accessibility goes beyond wheelchair access. We expanded our features to include 36 filters that look at wheelchair accessibility, walker, autism, intellectual and developmental disabilities, vision, and hearing. So it really broadens the scope of who can rent different properties.
So you're actually offering like a consulting service, right? You actually look at properties and assess them and advise what to do to make them more disabled friendly?
We do. We offer a certification program where our staff will go in and look at the properties to validate the information that is on the site is accurate. We will then look at properties to see if on your site you didn't realize, oh my gosh, this is a beautiful spa shower that happens to have a roll-in component that could benefit somebody in a wheelchair, or it has, nice soft hues of color that's in a very minimalistic environment with blackened curtains that are that could benefit people that have autism or IDD. So we will look at that. We look at the photography. We look at the words in the description. So again, when people come to your site, that what they see is accurate, validated information to hopefully get more bookings for the management companies.
So as a property manager, it's not just about having the rails and the ramps, et cetera, et cetera. It's actually even about the description in the listing and what someone might be looking for in the copy, in the text.
Absolutely. I mean, they go in tandem. So many times we just look at photographs, but photographs are commonly taken like from the waist up. And for myself, who's in a wheelchair, I want to see the floor. I want to know, can I navigate through that living room? Can I navigate and go take a shower? And so sometimes, while it may not be visibly seen, then we look at the narrative. Oh, did they just didn't capture that in their photograph? So I'm going to go and look at, is that a 36-inch door? Is that a step-in shower? Is that a roll-in shower? Where a lot of times the narrative commonly, oh, don't worry about it. We do. We feel that that's a really important aspect of confirming what features you have in your property.
Mm. I mean, we're not expert in the details of it, but one of the things that I learned from that Facebook post was even with sliding doors, the little ridges where the doors slide, that's not good for wheelchairs. It's like a speed bump, I suppose.
It's
But
not.
I'm
You
like,
know,
oh, wow, I never thought about that. Yeah.
well, what's so funny is it's a really long word. It's called zero threshold entry. What the heck does that mean? Well, it means, do I need a running start to get through that door? Does my power chair go bump? Or can I just slide over to the deck and see that beautiful beach? And
Yeah.
also people with weakness in their arms, that is important to not have that 1 inch, 2 inch threshold, so that you can wheel it over that threshold, to enjoy that space. And that's why education is so important. When you go to our site, you see a photograph of a zero threshold entry, not knowing what the heck that means and what does it look like.
Mm.
You
Mm.
can go to becomingrentable.com and see it.
Mm-mm. And one of the other things that I took away from that Facebook feed was that a lot of them wanted photos, but with actual dimensions, like between the wall and the side of the bed. Just, put your photo on Canva, put an arrow across here, and this is the dimension, this is the width, this is the height of the bed. I think when we were having a chat before, we were talking about the height of the toilet, things like that. And it's not hard for a property manager to do. You do it once, you take all the measurements, you do it once, and you put those dimensioned photographs on your website. And hey, you could appeal to a bigger audience.
Exactly. And I keep going back to education, but people go, why is it important for us to see how far the mattress is? Well, for somebody in a walker, it's easier to like sit down versus than to hike your hiney up to get on a bed. So if it is 18 inches tall, it's easy for somebody with, weakness in their trunk area to sit down in the bed and get in and out. The space underneath the bed, if you have a Hoyer lift, you need that bar to go underneath the bed, so you could then use your Hoyer lift and transfer the person in and out of bed. So again, those are like unseen things that you may not think about. And the height of the toilet is really important, particularly for people who are paraplegic, who are transferring from their chair to another chair, and which is the toilet. So it's things like that you may not think is a big deal, but it really does have a big impact on the renter's experience.
Yes. And then you were talking about an accreditation. So if you assess a property, then the property gets some sort of widget, or you're actually doing a listing site where you've got people looking for disabled friendly properties, and you've got properties listed already. Is that right?
Yes, we are so excited. We have over 500. We're approaching our 600 mark in just 10 weeks. We've went from 0 to 500. We have 28 hearing accessible properties and 18 autism accessible properties. And so I'm just so thrilled that families and friends and relatives can, rent a space that they all can enjoy, and in areas that, is commonly not thought about when you think of an accessible short-term rental. Again, it goes back to, oh, accessibility means wheelchair. No, it means so much more.
We'll go into that in a little bit more detail a little bit later, but I just wanted to know, so you said you have 32 filters. Can you just tell us a few of the filters?
Sure. Actually, today we have 36. So, I mean, I know, I'm so excited. We have things like, do you need a walk-in shower, a roll-in shower? Do you have a step? Because a walker can go up one step. but not multiple steps.
Okay.
So that's what would be the difference between wheelchair and walker. Um, are you looking for autism friendly? Are you looking for hearing, vision? Do you have blackout curtains? In your property? Do you have a will under sink? So we really we provide a lot of options. So many times I get the question, Lorraine, what makes a property accessible? And there are 62 million Americans with disabilities, and there's probably 62 million different ways that people identify what a short-term accessible property looks like. And so by providing this array of filters, it really enables or ables the visitor to go on site and identify exactly what they need so that they can have that hopefully positive experience when they book a place.
I'm sort of thinking that if there are certain filters, if you accreditate someone, with disabled friendly, and they can put those filters, or the roll under sink and things like that, maybe as part of their SEO, when someone is looking for disabled friendly or a specific thing, I wonder if that means their website could pop up with that property as well. So this
Right.
might be another avenue to try to bring in some guests, target
You
those.
know, when we certify a property, what we're doing is we're going in and we're validating what is state. It says that they are wheelchair, or they say they're accessible. So we go in, we look at the property to confirm the elements that they say on their site or show on their site is exactly what they say. And if it's not, then we'll provide recommendations on photographs, on language. And then when a property is validated and certified, we give a cute little medallion that says that you are certified as an accessible wheelchair property, walker friendly, autism. And then by having a link on your website that says accessible certified properties, all of the properties that have been validated go to the top of the list. So now people who are visiting have a positive experience because they're getting accurate information that they can then choose, their vacation needs from. Right now, the process is laborious. It's hideous. You go online, like I went to a platform recently. I went to a particular state. It said it had 138 accessible properties. I thought I won the mother lode. I was so stoked. Like, yes. I go in and I look. No. I go to the next. No. 15, no. 25, no. Finally, after about 45 or 52 hours going into the search, there were 0 properties. And again, that reflects negatively on property managers not knowing their properties to a different degree. And so by having that, you're kind of got a little bit up on your competition. You also have positive experience and hopefully more bookings and more people realizing, wow, this is a great resource. Hey, Facebook, accessible travel group, go check this group out. They have properties that I can go to. So.
Yeah. I think what's happening is there might be properties out there that don't realize they are accessible friendly. And then there are those that are saying they are, but they're not. So, like I was saying with mine, now that you're saying about the one step for the walker, God damn, you know what? This house had one step and then one step, and it had a bath and it had room between the bed and a wall. So here I am completely discounting disabled people coming to this place. But in fact, someone could have found this okay. So it is all about education. And it's the smallest thing to the grandest thing with the full ramps and rails on the wall. But there's so much in between that property managers can do to their properties. And then it can appeal to that slightly bigger audience of guests. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's so funny because I had been talking with a particular property management company, and they said, Lorraine, I don't think we have any properties that, would fit this category. So for giggles and grins, I go online, and holy moly, the very first property is totally wheelchair accessible. The next property I look at is walker friendly. And I'm going, what do you mean you don't have any? My first two properties, bam. And then my next door neighbor, I own a duplex. And I designed my side to be fully accessible for people with the most limited amount of mobility. And my neighbor was not designed for specifically accessible travel. And I book about 365 days a year, and my next door neighbor booked about 4 months. And but I said, Larry, why are you not including your hard surface driveway, your elevator, your zero threshold entry? You have a step-in shower. You could have reached so many more people if you had this information. And now they live here full time, and he has gone to his rental company and just blasted them. I lost so much money because you didn't include it. Well, they didn't know. And so Larry's like, why didn't you start this business 4 years ago? I needed you. And so here we are.
Besides doing the consulting work, do you offer courses? I mean, I suppose it's so huge, there's so much to learn with all the different disabilities and all the things that you can do to your property. Can you teach?
Oh, can we teach? Oh, we're teaching every day.
Right.
Yes. Well, this is not like a paid job, but something that's really cool is I'm starting to do lectures on college campuses, Zoom. So the OTs, the physical therapists, we go in and I explain, I share information, and then they can go and see a property and touch, feel, experience it so they can take it to their careers. And that's what we want to do with the short-term management property managers, is to be able to give them that information so they can then take it to their property listings. We're building a very in-depth webinar series. I'm so excited about it because they're going to be like 15-20 minutes information, but in nugget form. From an exterior standpoint, what do we need to do? What do we need to look for? From photography to language, it's really important on customer service that you get a lot of acronyms. What does MD, MS, VR, all these acronyms mean? And what are words maybe not to say, like, oh, my aunt, I go up to meet somebody and they go, oh, my aunt is also wheelchair bound. Well, I'm not bound to my wheelchair. I use it. And so I teach people about what language to use. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a person that uses a wheelchair. It's a part of who I am. And so we're putting those type of educational pieces together. And that's how we hope to see this change. And why we go back to becoming rentable is about changing the look and defining what it means to be accessible. I know those are a lot of words, but we don't know. And so I'm hoping that right now there's less than 2% of accessible properties online that are really accessible. Less than 2%. And so my hope is that in 6 months we see 5%. And then third quarter of this year, we see 7%. We are achieving these milestones of access. And I wouldn't mind if I'm out of business in 10 years, because this is a way of life, and that this is just what we look for.
And like you said, it's a very big audience out there that's not being catered to. So, you do your course, listen and learn, adapt your properties, and, hey, presto, wow, you could have a whole new niche of guests arriving at your place.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, in America, there's $658 billion of expendable cash available to people with disabilities. But the other thing about people with disabilities, there's 62 million in America, 1.3 billion over the globe. But you know what? We have friends. We have family. That number is exponential as far as how many people could use a property. My renter that is downstairs right now, the former daughter-in-law looked for the property for her former whatever, and she was clueless. She goes, I don't know what to look for. I'm in a different state. I don't know his abilities. I just know he can't find anything. And it was sad. She said it took us 2 weeks to every day looking to finally find your place.
Yeah.
And I'm going, we got to stop that madness.
Yeah, yeah. Look, a friend of mine, her son-in-law, no, I don't know what you call stepson, is disabled, and she was telling me how hard it is to find properties. To have to help him in the bathroom, and the bathroom's not wide enough, but the photos look deceptive, and she had a nightmare, trying to find somewhere. So yeah, it is definitely a fantastic service. So becoming rentable, it's got a consultancy. It's educational. It's got the listing site. So it's a listing site. You don't take any bookings. It's just people. It directs people to people's website for the direct booking, which is great. Once they get it, they can list once they get accredited with your widget.
No, they right now, that you do not have to be certified because we don't have the certification program rolled out until Monday, March the 20th. We start that certification, so maybe third quarter of this year. But we also want it to be a service. We want to be that one-stop shop. Where do you go in regard to accessible short-term rentals? Oh, you go to Becoming Rentable. And the reason that you do is you get the information, you understand what's important. And we also want it to be a service that if you are an individual family that has one rental property. We want it to be affordable. We don't want it to be full of fees. We want to be that resource. At the same time, yes, we want to make money. We are a for-profit business right now, and so we will be rolling out our certification programs. We will be looking at different ways through our education effort to bring in that revenue.
Are you still there? Yeah.
I'm still here. I forgot what we were talking about. So we have
we had a little technical issue and we've just lost the track.
And Lorraine just kept talking, and now it's like, and what did I say? Oh.
And I have a bit of ADD, so I don't remember either.
So, hey, there you go. We both have different needs, but we're sharing it.
Now,
there we go.
Speaking of needs, I'm very curious. So out of the, like the most top 5 disabilities, what would be 1 or 2 things that you would expect or you need in a property? Okay, so wheelchair, we understand about ramps and the roll-in shower, things like that. But like autism and vision impaired and hearing impaired, what are 1 or 2 things that they need?
Okay, so for hearing impaired, we look at signal devicing, a vibrating alarm clock, closed caption on your smart TV. So a lot of people have that smart TV and they don't think of it in that regard, but that's really important. So for our hearing impaired, we look at those. There's also, it's really cool. There's and the prices are $40 for this, $15 for that. And so you can get different levels. For our vision, clear paths, under cabinet lighting. How many of us already have under cabinet lighting? Or you look at possibly steps of putting a reflective tape on the step so that it's not tripping over, where the next step is. For autism, we look at our muted colors. We look at door alarms, blackout curtains, a quiet location. One of the things that I found fascinating was not using fluorescent lights. And I'm like, why? What does fluorescent lights do? And it has a flickering element. Okay. And so that sometimes can have a reaction to people that have autism. Deadbolt and different locks are very important because of young adults and taller children just unlocking the door. So you want to have multiple locks so that they just don't go out and they walk and walk. And you want to make sure that you have those things in place. And the beauty of all of this is, particularly in our autism IDD, vision and hearing, A, it doesn't cost much, and B, we have some of those things already in place, but you didn't know it.
Mm-hmm. And maybe we all take for granted, but we may have already had this sort of guest staying and not having the best of times. Now, I was managing my neighbor's property one summer, and it was pouring with rain, and they ended up with a leak in the dining room, and it was a pretty bad leak. I went over to check on it. I was like, oh, this is pretty bad. I said, look, my home is next door and it's available. You can just shift next door. I won't charge you any extra. It's worth more. Da, 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 da. And she was saying that her son is autistic and she can't move. It's too much to move him. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. I don't know anything about autism. And as a property manager, it stuck in my head, but I didn't realize there were things that I could do to make a property more autistic friendly. And that was just the one time that I'd heard about it. It's like, oh, okay.
So one of the things that we're doing at Becoming Rentable is working with affiliates and building an affiliate relation program. And there is one of our affiliates is a company called Able Eyes. And a lot of properties already have the video component. And the beauty of a video component is that change is very difficult for people on the autism spectrum. So if you have a video and you can say, Lorraine, this is the parking lot, this is what it looks like. When we come to the property, here's the front door, here's the bedroom, here's the bathroom, and you show that repeatedly. So now you arrive to your property and you go, Lorraine, here's the driveway. And you're going, yeah, I know that driveway. Here's the door. You know, you're right, here's the door. And so that element of change isn't as strong as if they never saw it. So again, that video, if you're hiring Able Eyes or you already have a video, is really important. And again, putting that information into your description to go, you know, Johnny, you know, cousin Johnny's going to come over and visit us while we're on vacation at the beach. And that property he can go and visit before he comes to the house, and then it's a really positive experience. So it's things like that. It's,
Look,
you know,
I've mentioned on numerous other videos in the past about guest experience being so important. And I'm sure that a lot of disabled travelers have had really unfortunate experiences. So I think this is great that you are going to educate everyone to helping a bigger audience have a great experience. You know, they deserve a great holiday just as much as everyone else. So let's get educated and make sure that our properties can accommodate them. Yeah.
absolutely. We're all trying to live our best life,
Yeah.
and that's what we hope to achieve.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I've come to the end of my questions. Is there anything else that you want to add that I may have forgotten to talk with
You
you?
know, I'm sure as soon as we finish, I'm gonna go, oh, and I didn't say that. You know, I encourage people, we have a list my property on our website, becomingrentable.com. So if you think you have an accessible property and you want to go in and list your property, our staff will then review it, will provide feedback, and if it's accessible, we'll put it on our platform for others to see.
That's great, really great. And what I'm going to do is I'll put the link for the website in the description below. If you have any questions for Lorraine, pop them in the comments below. And Lorraine, it has been an absolute pleasure to discuss this. I've really, it's been on my mind since way back when I wanted to take that bath out of the ground floor bathroom, and then that post last year when I got inundated with responses, and I thought this is definitely a topic that needs to be explored, and everyone needs to know about it. So thank you very much for your time, and I think you're doing an incredible thing.
Thank you very much, Deborah.
Yes, thank you, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.